Greetings and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us today for this virtual training session on multilingual services and content-based language instruction. We're thrilled to have such a dedicated group of educators here, eager to enhance their skills and knowledge in supporting our emergent bilingual students. Your presence here today demonstrates your commitment to creating an inclusive and equitable learning environment where all students, regardless of their language background, can thrive. We recognize the incredible assets that multilingual students bring to our classrooms, and we're here to equip you with the tools and strategies to unlock their full potential. In this session, we will know the updated TEA guidance on serving emergent bilingual students. We will understand the importance and purpose of language instruction for emergent bilinguals, and we will be able to discuss the importance of CBLI and its application. Let's dive into Chapter 89 of the Texas Administrative Code. This is a crucial document that guides how we serve our emergent bilingual students in Texas schools. Every student in the state who has a primary language other than English and who is identified as an emergent bilingual student shall be provided a full opportunity to participate in a bilingual education or English as a second language ESL program. This chapter outlines the state's commitment to providing equitable and effective educational opportunities for all students, regardless of their language background. It establishes a framework for identifying and serving emergent bilingual students, ensuring that they are receiving the support they need to become proficient in English while also valuing and developing their home languages. We, as a school district, shall provide for ongoing coordination between the bilingual ESL program and the general education program. As teachers, it is our responsibility to address the effective linguistic and cognitive needs of emergent bilingual students as follows. In the next few slides, we will discuss what this looks like in the classroom. When we talk about effective, this means referring to, arising from, or influencing feelings and emotions. Emergent bilinguals shall be provided instruction using content-based language instructional methods or their primary language to acclimate students to the school environment and to develop academic language skills, which instills confidence, self-assurance, and positive identity with the cultural heritages. Lessons shall be designed to consider the students' learning experiences and shall incorporate the cultural aspects of the students' backgrounds. When we lower the affective filters and students are feeling positive, they are ready to learn. The lower the affective filter, the more input is allowed to pass through. Students who are highly motivated feel confident and feel safe and more open to input into receiving what you are teaching. Emergent bilingual students shall be provided targeted and intentional academic language instruction to develop proficiency in listening, speaking, reading, and writing. Instruction shall be structured to ensure that students master the required essential knowledge and skills and higher order thinking skills in all subjects, providing individualized linguistically accommodated content instruction with the students' language proficiency levels. The ELPs are provided for English development in conjugation with the TEKS. Emergent bilingual students shall be provided instruction in English and or their primary language in reading and language arts, math, science, and social studies using content-based language instructional methods. The instruction in academic content areas shall be communicated, scaffolded, and differentiated to ensure that the students master the required essential knowledge and skills and higher order thinking skills. We will dive into content-based language instruction later in this course. Texas Education Agency update. TEA has provided an important update concerning emergent bilingual students with parent denials in bilingual and ESL programs. All emergent bilingual students, including students with parent denials for program participation, shall be giving linguistic supports as appropriate to ensure that they are developing proficiency in the English language and mastering grade level content for each grade through their educational experience. This means we must provide linguistic supports to ensure all students, including our parental denials, are successful. The update also includes content-based language instruction methods. This shall be employed during all levels of instruction to develop language and attain content mastery of TEKS and ELPs in all grade levels and across disciplines to impact the overall educational experience of all emergent bilinguals. So let's dig into CBLI. What is CBLI? CBLI is an integrated approach to language instruction in which language is developed within the context of content delivery that is culturally and linguistically responsive. CBLI is for everyone. Let's look at this visual. CBLI applies to all programs for emergent bilingual students. Bilingual, ESL, denials, and general ed. It applies to any language of instruction. It is part of Tier 1 instruction as it provides equitable access to general content instruction. It holds high expectations at grade level in each content, and it encompasses an asset-based approach. There are 3 elements that are included in the CBLI document. These 3 elements are interconnected rather than independent. Together, they outline the essential components for comprehensive and successful support of emergent bilingual students. The first element is second language acquisition. This element lays the theoretical foundation behind the specific and practical linguistic supports explained within the instructional methods element. The diverse support element dives into how educators can differentiate for EB students with varied backgrounds, needs, and strengths. Finally, the culturally and linguistically sustaining practices describes the effective needs of emergent bilingual students and the instructional practices and systems that are necessary to address them. Second language acquisition includes effective instructional design for emergent bilingual students that should include opportunities to listen, speak, read, and write at their current levels of language development while gradually increasing the linguistic complexity of the academic language they read and hear and are expected to speak and write. Primary language instruction and cross-linguistic connections are vital in additive programs such as dual language programs to help with second language acquisition. Emergent bilingual students are diverse in many ways, including language and cultural heritage as well as levels of language proficiency. Particularly, newcomers and emergent bilingual students are 2 diverse populations with distinct needs and strengths. To ensure educational equity, educators should value and intentionally seek to understand the diverse funds of linguistic and cultural knowledge, prior experiences, and interests of their students, capitalize of students' cultural and linguistic resources as a basis for intentional instructional connections, create an environment of inclusivity that ensures students feel seen and heard in their classroom setting, employ differentiated methods to ensure equitable access to language and content. We can provide culturally and linguistically sustaining practices by implementing the instructional methods. There are 3 parts when it comes to instructional methods. The first one that we will discuss is communicated instruction, also known as comprehensible input. Repeated exposure and meaningful practice are essential for learning because they strengthen neural connections in the brain, leading to deeper understanding and better retention of information. Some examples of repeated exposure and meaningful practice can be rereading, summarizing, concept mapping, flashcards, application to real world, project-based learning, or collaborative activities. Think of it like learning to play a musical instrument or a sport. You wouldn't expect to master it by just watching someone else do it. You need to practice regularly and in ways that are relevant to meet your goals. Context-embedded resources refer to learning materials and activities that are rich in visual, social, and interactive elements to support comprehension, especially for language learners. They provide scaffolds to help students understand new information by connecting it to existing knowledge and experiences. Context-embedded examples are visuals, gestures, realia, symbols, and manipulatives. Clearly expressed instructions for tasks will help students to understand your expectations. This example of the do now activity has concise directions. A focus on communicative functions in one way to help the comprehensible input, which over form is a language teaching method that prioritizes the ability to communicate effectively in a second language over learning grammatical rules. This teaching method cares more about actually communicating in a new language than perfectly knowing the grammar rules. It's the opposite of methods that focus mainly on grammar. In a communicative approach to language teaching, learners are more aware of linguistic forms, such as words and conjugations and contexts of a communicative activity. The second instructional method is called sequence, which is also referred to differentiated instruction. Explicit academic instruction involves directly teaching students the specific language skills they need to succeed in school. Some examples are pre-teaching vocabulary, which is directly teaching key academic terms and phrases. Syntax, which is teaching how sentences are structured in academic writing and speaking, including complex sentence structures, grammatical features, and punctuation. Discourse, which is teaching the language structures used in different academic genres. Explicit instruction also emphasizes providing clear explanations, modeling, guided practice, and feedback to ensure students understand and can apply these language skills. Connecting to prior knowledge and instruction is like building a bridge between what students already know and what you want them to learn. It's about helping them make meaningful connections between new information and their existing understanding. Here's why it's important. It improves comprehension, increases engagement, and deepens learning. Teachers can help students activate prior knowledge through various strategies such as brainstormings, KWL charts, graphic organizers, and real-world connections. By tapping into what students already know, teachers can create a more engaging and effective learning experience. Cross-linguistic connections in education involve recognizing and leveraging the interconnectedness of languages. It's about valuing students' home languages and using those languages as a resource for learning, rather than seeing them as a barrier. Here's a summary of the key ideas and examples. Comparing cognates, explore words with shared origins across languages, such as education in English and educación in Spanish. Analyzing grammatical structures, compare how different languages express tense, gender, or number. Translating text, have students translate simple text between their home language and English. Using bilingual dictionaries and glossaries, provide access to resources that support students in understanding academic vocabulary in both languages. By making cross-linguistic connections and providing access to authentic resources, educators can create a more inclusive and supportive learning environment for our multilingual students. Alternative assessments offer exciting ways for students to show what they know, moving beyond traditional tests. Why do we want to do this? We want to deepen their understanding. We want them to have a real world connection, and it'll help with student engagement. Here are a few examples of how you can create alternative assessments. Simulations or role play, project-based learning, presentations, portfolios or a collection of work, experiments, writing or journal entries, music, film, or video. When we are creating alternative assessments, here are some important considerations. We want to carefully design the assessments to align to the specific learning objectives of the course or unit. We want to make sure we are clear by providing a rubric so that students understand the expectations for performance. We want to offer opportunities for feedback and revision to support student learning and growth. Whenever possible, provide students with choices in how they demonstrate their learning to increase engagement and motivation. The third instructional method is called scaffolded, also known as structured supports. Structured oral language development provides supports for students to practice and improve their speaking and listening skills in a safe and organized way. It helps them to develop academic language and confidence in expressing their ideas. Here are some examples. Sentence frames. These are partially completed sentences that provide a structure for students to express their thoughts. Wait time, which refers to pauses a teacher takes after asking a question or prompting a response. Giving students adequate wait time allows them to process information, formulate their thoughts, and build confidence before speaking. And then ABA. ABA is a structured conversation dialogue between two students. Benefits of structured oral language development helps increase participation, improving language skills, and enhance comprehension. It also gives the students greater confidence. By incorporating structured oral language development strategies, educators can create a more supportive and effective learning environment for all students, particularly English language learners. Meaningful and authentic cooperative learning goes beyond simply putting students in groups. It's also creating an environment where collaboration is purposeful, engaging, and connected to real-world situations. Here's what it may look like. It will share goals and interdependence. Students work together for a common goal. It also helps with individual accountability. Each student has a specific role and responsibility within the group, ensuring that they will also contribute. Face-to-face interaction, students actively engage with each other, sharing ideas, discussing perspectives, and solving problems together. Authentic task connects students' learning to real-world situations and problems, making it relevant and engaging for students. Some examples are project-based learning, problem-solving scenarios, jigsaw activities, peer editing, and feedback. By incorporating meaningful and authentic cooperative learning activities, educators can foster a collaborative and supportive learning environment where students develop both academic and social skills. Instructional modeling is like showing students exactly how to do something before they do it themselves. It's a powerful way to make thinking visible and provide a clear roadmap for learning. Here's the gist. The gradual release model. I do, we do, you do. First, the teacher models the skill or the thought process, the I do, then guides students through it together, the we do, and finally, students practice independently, you do. Thinking aloud. Teachers verbalize their thinking as they work through a problem or task, showing students the steps involved and strategies they use. Visual aids. Outlines and graphic organizers are excellent tools for making thinking visible. They help students see the structure of information, the relationships between ideas, and the steps involved in a process. What are the benefits? It helps with clarity, reduces cognitive load, promotes metacognition, supports independent learning. By incorporating instructional modeling into their teaching, educators can empower students to become more independent and successful learners. Contextual supports within text are like clues that help readers understand what they're reading. They make the text more accessible and engaging, especially for those who are developing their language skills. Some examples are visuals, real-world connections, clear and concise language, definitions and explanations, and text features. Think of it like this. Imagine reading a text about a historical event with no pictures, no maps, and no explanations of unfamiliar terms. It would be pretty challenging. Contextual supports helps bring the text to life and make it more meaningful. By providing contextual supports, authors and educators can create a more inclusive and supportive reading experience for all learners. As we include these instructional methods in our daily lessons, whether you teach math, science, social studies, or language arts, your emergent bilingual students will build on language as they are learning your content. It is important that we include comprehensible input, differentiated instruction, and structured supports to meet the needs of all our students. In this session, we learned many essential components of effective multilingual services and how to embed content-based language instruction so we can empower our students to succeed academically while honoring their linguistic and cultural identities. Thank you for coming today, and we're excited to embark on the journey to serve our emergent bilingual students with you.